In today's video, I'm going to be taking you along of what a typical day of homemaking looks like for me, and I really hope you enjoy it, find it relaxing but also inspiring at the same time. I've got quite a bit of things to share with you today, lots of gardening, a few recipes, and just a way to simply relax. So I am over here near this area near my garden. We planted this tree and you can see that it's quite sloped here, so I needed to build a retaining wall for this area, and I've been gathering up boulders around the property and putting them in place. It is quite the workout, sweating here a lot and also smushing my fingers at the same time. Gardening is so therapeutic for me. I really enjoy it because in a sense it is me creating something, and I love being able to walk out here and be inspired. And I'm not the type of person that likes to sit still, so for me this is really a joy because I get to use my hands, but I also get to create something beautiful. So you'll kind of see me rearrange this area. It's almost like a puzzle piece, and just trying to get it correct in the best way possible. But for the last 3 to 4 weeks, I have been working outside as much as possible to get it all done before the heat sets in. I definitely don't wake up before the sunrise, but I try to get up once the sun wakes me up, and I work outside for a good 3 to 4 hours if possible before the kids wake up, and then I make breakfast. It can look different every morning. This morning I decided to make a smoothie because it sounded good because I was sweating to death. So it's just bananas, raw milk, strawberries, mangoes, and some protein powder. Really refreshing. Sometimes it's homemade pancakes, sometimes it's French toast, sometimes it's eggs and bacon. Just kind of depends on what we feel like. It was pretty thick. Once we enjoyed that together, then it was back outside to continue working for a little bit longer while the sun wasn't too harsh. So the days that I wash my hair, usually once or twice a week, is when I will wrap my hair around this band and I sleep in it, and then it allows my curls to stay for usually 3 or 4 days. Really like that because it feels put together but is like no work on my end, and I like that a lot. But this morning was the first morning that I have taken off from working in the yard, and I just got to enjoy all the irises blooming, going in to water everything, check on it. It just felt good to relax and not have like a huge to-do list on my gardening schedule to do. So with the gardening, it always is a work in progress, and I always say each year, I think I'm done, but I'm not. I have so many ideas I want to do and create out here. So because of that, I add more to my list, and that is okay because I find so much joy in gardening. I snipped off all the peppers about a week or so ago, and they are doing fantastic. Got this wild lettuce that just came up from wintertime. I didn't plant that, but this bit of lettuce mix is what I planted this year, and so I can't wait to harvest that for some salads here soon. Sourdough Focaccia bread. I'm using about 400 grams of water for this. Active starter here, and I'm going to use around 100 grams of that. About maybe a cup. Somebody just woke up. Good morning, my love. Mix this. My dough hook, I got that from Hobby Lobby, but you can buy Amazon, Etsy, lots of places. I'm gonna leave it in this bowl actually, because then when it comes to the top of the bowl, you know it's ready. Not knead it, but just stir it for a bit, a couple minutes. Right now, with the season of life and the weather, I'm either outside gardening or I am cooking or baking, and I really enjoy it. So that is the season of homemaking that I'm in. Obviously, I'm still doing chores and stuff, but they're not the priority, that's for sure. Playing with the kids and just enjoying being outside. And now we're just gonna cover this, and this has to get doubled in size, and then we will do the fun part. So it's gonna depend on how long that takes. If you're in a warmer area, it's gonna take less hours. If you're in a cold area, it's gonna take longer. So right now in the house, it's 60, I think 3 degrees or so. I'm gonna actually put this on the porch so that it can get nice and warm faster, and I don't have to wait 10 or 12 hours. I could maybe wait like 4, 6, somewhere in there. Now I'm going to make some pie crust. Ooh, 2.5 cups of flour. I like my crust to be on the sweeter side, so I will usually do 1 or 2 tablespoons of sugar. Half a teaspoon of salt. Eyeball is fine. Mix that together. I'm going to get messy, so I'm going to put my apron on because I want to keep my dress clean today. You're gonna add a couple tablespoons at a time. I just do a little bit at a time. Crumbly that is. Oh, it's beautiful. You don't want it as wet as biscuits, but you want it to come together like when you press it. So when you press this together, that is a good dough. Makes 2 pie crusts. So you have one for the top and one for the bottom. All right, so now these are going to go into the fridge for at least an hour. They can stay in there longer, totally fine. But I actually have to go to town and run some errands, and then we'll come back here, make the pie, and then hopefully the focaccia dough will be doubled by then. Crossing our fingers, it will be. And then we'll have a nice dinner and everything outside. After we got home from running errands, I'm trying my best to take time out of the day versus at night. Just have some quiet time, read a book, relax, even if it's just sitting in the sun for a bit, just to rejuvenate and then also play with the kids. So this is the first year we were planting potatoes, and I had a certain area in the garden for them, and then I realized it's not a good area. So I decided to utilize these really large tree containers and add compost, raised bed mix, and then I will add another layer on top, and then another layer as they poke through.
preparing food.
We picked these, they were just ready to eat, and so when I sliced them up to store them, they were super soft. So they're not gonna hold together that well, but we just want the super sweet flavor of them, so that'll work just fine for me. I forgot to mention what type of pie we are making, a peach and apricot stone pie. So thought this would be wonderful to share, especially since the summer is basically here. I'm adding about a tablespoon or two of tapioca that helps absorb some of the liquid, about a 6 cup of sugar, and then some cinnamon. So instead of using a traditional pie plate, I'm going to use a taller ceramic one that's a little bit smaller in diameter, and then 2 individual ones. These peaches and apricots are so juicy. They are going to be so yummy together.
Come back to your breath, don't drift away from me. I will come down to remind you of before. We can fly away from here. We can stay close, my dear.
I feel like these days sometimes homemakers don't get enough credit for how much work they do and also how much joy it can bring to you and your family. I absolutely love being able to stay at home and bake meals from scratch, teaching them how to make the meals too. I feel like homemaking is almost a forgotten art that serves your family and also serves future generations. And so if you can, whether it is just one meal a week or a few times a week, or if you can do more than that, take the time, make a meal with your kiddos and your spouse and make it special. You don't have to have anything fancy to do that. We have been eating outside a ton because it's a joy since the weather's warmed up and we don't feel like we have to be cooped up inside or anything. So just find things to bring joy to everyday moments.
We can fly away from here. We can stay.
Now you can use an egg wash for this, which is fine. I don't like to waste an egg on it. So I brush mine with milk, cream. You can do whichever. And that's only if you're going to top it with some sugar, some turbinado sugar, which I suggest you do because it is always so much better when you have crust that has that extra little bit of sugar on it. It is so, so good. I like to use a cookie sheet on the bottom of it. That way, if it does decide to spill over, it doesn't burn in your oven because it's an awful, awful smell. So I'm going to be baking this at 450 for about 10 minutes. And then I will drop it down to 350 for about 35 to 45, depending on the pie size. So I ended up waiting for the oven to be done, and then I will put in the smaller pies a little bit after the larger one just because I don't want them to burn. But if you haven't gotten a plastic dough scraper, it's great for removing flour off your countertops. It's really easy.
Come out and play. It's Saturday, and I promise I'll love you much better now. The sour taste will wash away
Don't the pies look wonderful? You can brown them a little bit more. You can turn on the broil if you want. Just don't forget about them. I like my dough a little bit softer, so everybody's personal preference. But now it's time to finish the sourdough focaccia bread. So I'm adding some olive oil to my pan, and you want to be generous with this, and then you're going to just plop it in there. You can see that it has basically doubled in size, and it is pretty wet, so the oil helps actually not to stick to your hands as much. You can't really mess this up at this point, okay? So you're just gonna kind of turn it over onto itself and basically coat it in the oil. And I just fold it over on itself a couple times here, and then it will slowly spread out. So I'm just gonna cover it and put it outside actually because it's warmer. And while that rises, I'm making some dinner. And then when it's ready to go, I'm cutting some fresh rosemary that I'm gonna add on top. You can use whatever. If I have tomatoes here soon, I'll be adding that to the top as well. So this is the fun part where you get to dimple the bread. Oh, it's just wonderful. It's so satisfying. You're going to drizzle a little bit more olive oil on top, and then you can top it with your toppings. I just did some rosemary and then a little bit of sea salt. Really simple. The oven is at 400 degrees. And you could do up to 450 if you want. I actually want to try this in a cast iron skillet to get a crispier edge on the bottom. But you're going to bake it for about 20 to 30 minutes depending on how brown it's looking. Take it out and you can enjoy it. Let it sit for a little bit, but we were kind of impatient. I just cooked up some chicken and some broccoli, and then I'm going to cut this up and serve it with it.
Oh, but kinda new way. Oh, but kinda new. Tell me you're feeling it too, babe. And love me like yesterday. Oh, but kinda new.
We eat on this old picnic table because it's not in the sun. The other area that I showed you a week or so ago, that kind of gets sun at that time, but this makes wonderful sandwich bread. It's soft, squishy, it's delightful. We made sandwiches of it the next day, but I'm really excited to actually work on the outdoor space that this area is in, and that'll be next week's video. Later that evening, after we enjoyed the pie and everything, I got back to work on that area, and so I'm cleaning it up here, removing all the extra bits of dryland grass and stuff, trying to make a more workable surface. And I've actually been pulling out, they're actually a weed here, but it's daisies, and I just pull them out. They're really resilient, so they look all wilty and like not happy, but with a little bit of water, they spring right up and they're beautiful. So they're actually going to start blooming here white, and then they will bloom pretty much all summer long. And so I didn't have to spend any money on these. I just pulled them from different areas of the yard, and you can separate them. They're really versatile, and they'll get quite thick too. So I'm happy that I could repurpose something that I really like. So this area is going to be purple and white, and then the tree blooms like a pink color in the spring, so I'm really excited for that. I ended up doing double rows of the daisies, kind of alternating them, and now I gotta work on the rock around and then finish mulching and everything. Looking really good. area on the entrance to my garden has come quite a long way. I still have more plans to do more things in this area, but the before to the after, I think it looks really good. And then when everything starts to bloom, it's going to look even better as it starts to grow in. But I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this. I'll try to have everything I can linked in the description box below. I hope you all have an amazing day. Thank you again for spending part of it with me.